Hey, everybody. Thanks for the warm welcome, Angie, and happy International Women's Day. Angie mentioned, I'm working with Southwest Airlines currently as a cybersecurity program manager. And since I have a few years of experience of, interviewing for jobs, looking for jobs, as well as writing job requisitions and interviewing, job candidates, I thought I'll share some tips and tricks on how you could go about. I want this session to be really interactive. If Could I get a sense of how many of y'all are students? Maybe you could like raise your hand, or if you're a student and you're looking for entry level jobs, or maybe you could use the thumbs up emoji. Okay, okay, so there are a few of you. All right. Okay, many of you. Thank you. All right. So I'll try to tailor it, half and half for entry level as well as experienced professionals. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'm going to dive right into it. Okay, so a couple of things while looking for a job. You all know there are lots of softwares out there where recruiters, like when you apply for a job, it only reaches the recruiter if it sort of passes by. And I don't have a lot of knowledge about that. I'm sure you've got some tips about that from other sessions as well. But the one thing I definitely know, once it reaches a recruiter, say you have, your resume has all the right keywords for that job, the a recruiter looks at your job for 2 to 3 seconds maximum. So make sure what the job ad specifies, especially the main things they're looking for, is in your resume. One size doesn't fit all. If you're really serious about uh, applying and trying for that job, make sure you are tailoring your resume for every job you apply. I know it is tiring. It is a full time job to apply for jobs, but that's how it is, and that'll give you the best chance. Now, we are going to look at a few job ads. These are job ads I've taken out of LinkedIn. And I have a couple of like entry level jobs and a couple of like senior level jobs as well. And I'm just going to analyze like, who could apply for them. Now, this is since I'm from the cybersecurity space, some of these terms, like the jobs, would be in that space, but it would apply for anybody in other technology areas as well. Now, this job is a fairly straightforward job. This team is looking for a pen tester, and like they have specified here, they already have a team, so they're looking at adding. Sorry. So they're looking at adding a team member to their team. So that's one of the things you need to know, that they're looking at adding a team member. This is not a leadership position. It's a consultant, tester, that kind of analyst, that kind of position. Now, they have mentioned 3 years of professional experience. Now, as a person who's looking for candidates for my team, for example, I would prefer someone who could come join the team and get started. There's not too much of training time. That's why some of the jobs will say 3 years experience. But this shouldn't deter you if you are a student and you trained have some training as a pen tester. So if you had it in your college degree and you've done some internship around that, I would encourage you to still try it for these jobs. So everyone is optimistic when they're looking for candidates. They want to find the right fit. But when they don't find the right fit, there are some considerations that a manager who's looking for a job will make. So if they're not finding people who have enough of experience, they will look at entry level uni grads as well, if they show the right kind of attitude and they have the right kind of write up in their resumes. So this is one tip I would say. If it says 2 to 3 years, it's possible that that team will look at someone who is fairly new to the workforce and will be ready to train. But you have to show some examples of what you have done in in this particular space. So, have you done a course? Have you done some, actual internship with an organization? And you could give some examples of that as well. So, the other thing which I noticed on this job ad was a strong desire and future focus. So it looks like they have burned their fingers a little bit, like they've brought in somebody who kept changing their mind whether they want to be a pen tester or not. Now, so if you read between the lines, you're looking for someone who will be committed to that job, to that role. So if you could mention something like that in your resume, that would help you at least get to the interview level. Now, they have specifically mentioned all candidates are subject to a technical interview. So, now if you haven't done any work in this space and don't have the training, I wouldn't suggest, because the technical interview will actually test you for those technical skills. And if you have any questions, keep posting them. I'll see if it is relevant. I will try to answer. Now, I'm going to go to the next one. This is the job of a cyber threat intelligence analyst. Now, again, it's similar. It's an analyst role. I would look at it as like to be a cyber threat intelligence analyst, you need to have some experience, some working knowledge. But again, since they have said 3 years of proven experience, if you have a little bit less than that as well, I would encourage you to still apply. Now they're looking at certifications. See, some of the certification, the CIS certification, for example, only someone who has 5 to 6 years of experience in cyber would be looking at doing those experience. So they're looking at a rock star over here. They want someone with 3 years of experience, but a rock star. So I think it's a little bit too far fetched. They may or may not get someone who, with this kind of a combination. These are the kind of things you should try and see and apply if you think, this doesn't really match. 3 years of proven experience and a CIS. It's not a match as such. CIS would be like at least 7 to 8 years of experience in cyber itself. Um, these If you're in the cyberspace, Security Plus and CompTIA Security Plus are the entry level um, certifications, which are really, really useful. It just shows your commitment towards that field. So I would highly encourage those certifications, but the rest will come as you go through your career. So don't get bogged down by lots of information in the job ad. Now, these are things these are good to have for them, right? Like, can you do trend analysis? Can you do do you have social media mastery? Can you look at, social media records and look at and understand what kind of threats or indicators are there? What you should do is still try to understand what they're looking for and embed that in your resume, that yes, you have gone through social media logs and have found something like this, for example. So that will show that you have specific examples of for what they're looking for. And again, because it's 3 years experience, even though you may or may not have that much experience, give it a go, because you never know. Maybe they've been looking for a cyber threat intelligence analyst for 6 months, have not found one. Now they're ready to train someone. Maybe you'll be the right person at the right time. Okay, now I'm going to touch upon a couple of little bit senior positions. This is a job ad which I really liked: identity governance project manager. So obviously it is a lead role because they have mentioned leading a team of functional and technical resources. So someone who has enough of experience, but they have kept it pretty broad. They've said 10 years experience, but they've not said in what, not specifically that you should have had 10 years experience in identity and access management or in project management. So it looks like they would be okay with someone mid-level and having some experience in each of these areas. So that's how you should read it. So say you have 10 to 12 years of experience in technology, but only 3 to 4 years of experience in, identity and access management, a couple of years in project management and agile, you should still go for it, because since they have not specified that, they looks like they are open to it. So don't be shy to apply for this role if you have some experience in any of these areas. Now, this is a great job ad because they have said how you will stand out as a candidate. So they have said these are the bonus points. It's very rare you'll see this in a job ad. So these, if you have any of these, familiarity with NIST, or you have experiences any of these IAM products, any of these networking products or security tools, that'll just make you stand out. So if you have it, put it in the resume right up there. So in those 2 to 3 minutes that the recruiter looks at your resume, they find those keywords. I'm going to do one more. This is a GRC lead role, so IT security governance, risk, and compliance lead. So it is a big role. It is managing a team, definitely, and it helps in IT risk and control assessments, maintenance of IT risk, and control catalogs. So the only thing about this role, if I look at it, like I feel like, oh my God, they're looking for so much of experience. It feels like that, but you've got to read each and every line and see where you are at. Now, looking at skills and qualifications, again, they have not specifically said how many years in each of these areas, but they have said, do you have some experience in regulatory and compliance assessments, for example? Do you have some experience in maturing cybersecurity processes? So if you have touched upon any of these areas, it should be in your resume to be picked up for this. Some things they have mentioned, some years of experience, 5 to 7 years in related experience and project management experience. So these are some of the keywords I would look at to see whether I have the right skill. Now, say I'm my background is more in the identity and access management space. I have touched upon GRC a little bit, and I have some experience. I have project management experience and experience in information security and audit. I could probably apply for this. If they don't get the exact match, they will at least consider me for an interview. So that that's the kind of message I'm trying to give. If you have some related experience, at least try for it and highlight what they're looking for in in that job. Okay. So say you have applied for the job, you get selected. I have a couple of tips for pre bef- uh, how do you prepare for the job. Now, especially if you don't have all the skills necessary, but the recruiter still wants to give you a try, that organization still wants to see if you're the right fit, make sure you look up on the responsibilities and tasks, like day-to-day tasks involved in that role, so you're familiar when they ask you those questions. In fact, go ahead and hit up some people on LinkedIn or in your network who are in the similar role and see what they do on a day-to-day basis, just to get an understanding. You've not done that role in its entirety, so you need to have some inside information on what really happens in that role. And for no matter which level, if it's entry level or senior level, I always recommend doing a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Like, what would you do if you were given that thing? Get into the mindset of that role, that yes, you have got the job, and what would you do in the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? Do this for yourself. Whether you share it with the recruiter or not, do this for yourself. This will put you in the mindset of that role, that if you actually get the role, because they will ask you, if you're that yes, if you're a pen tester and this is the situation you are in, what would you do? If you plan that out by walking through your 30, 60, 90-day plan, it will help you answer the questions, prepare you for the interview. And lastly, I do recommend sending a pre-read for the job interview. Now, that is because there have been, people are looking for so many candidates. And if you want to stand out and you want to show your commitment towards like how committed you are to towards preparing for that role, send a pre-read a day or two before your actual interview. The pre-read, now you've already sent your resume, they've looked at your resume, they've probably had a chat with you. You could just send a little bit about me, as in very specific, not more than 7 to 8 lines, very specific to that role, like what exactly, how what the skills you have for that role. That's it. And short, you could have a 30-60 day plan for leaders who are looking at long like middle management or senior roles. You should also look at 90, 180, 270 day plan, because as a new leader, you know the first few months is only about establishing yourself. You can only be productive and actually do show some outcomes a little bit later, after 3, 6 months, 9 months. So for leaders, I would suggest you also show the up to 270 day plan, but make it for anybody else, you at least have to have a 30, 60, 90 day plan. And make sure you send it to the recruiter, and make sure the recruiter sends it to the person who's going to interview you. So this will help. A lot of times they will pull it up as part of the interview, which so that gives you more control at the interview itself. And um, and even if they don't bring it up, you can refer to it and say, I sent my 30-60 day plan to you, and based on that, this is what I would try and do in response to any of their questions. Yep, and that's it. Yep, I highly recommend a pre-read. It makes you stand out as a candidate, shows your commitment, so definitely try that. No, anybody, even if it's a analyst position, a testing position, doesn't matter. Uh, if you're even if you're a tech in technology, like an engineer position, anybody will need to have this kind of plan. So look it up for specific for your role, that what would you need to do, and it could be your opinion as well. So it just makes them think, it makes them aware that you have really thought about that role, and if you are appointed, that you will succeed, because you're already in that mindset that yes, I'm getting that job.